Hi everyone, it's Ailin here. Welcome back to another video. So today I really wanted to film a Q&A video. It's really been way too long since I filmed a Q&A video. I've been filming a lot of topic videos recently. I have a few iridology videos that I've been working on filming. They'll be released soon. But yeah, I really wanted to sit down and cover all of your questions because it's been way too long. And you know, pretty much I've been doing okay now that it's coming on summertime. It's been really dreary recently, you know, these past few months with the winter time. Even though I'm located in Florida, it's quite cold. The weather is pretty unpredictable this time of year, and let's just say it's been too chilly to go out swimming in the beach, in the ocean, which that's where I get my restoration from and my grounding from. And it's also been too cold to go biking, which I absolutely love. I love going biking to get in fresh oxygen and fresh air. And so, you know, I would do those activities on a weekly basis, oftentimes multiple times a week, because, you know, with my line of work, being in an office, being on the computer for so long, it can get kind of draining. And that's kind of what I used to do, or what I do in order to replenish myself. But now I'm so excited that it's been finally warming up here again. And I don't know, that kind of gave me a little bit more of an oomph to start filming more videos, because I know they've kind of been lacking here, you know, the past few months on our YouTube channel. But no more. We are off to a fresh start. We are turning over a new leaf. Springtime is coming up. The fruits are finally getting a little bit better. This is the first watermelon that I found to be decent tasting in God knows how long. It's been months, and I've been, you know, just suffering without my watermelon. Watermelon is my absolute favorite fruit of all time. High alkalizer, high energizer. It just puts a smile on your face. It's so sweet tasting, and it's so good at cleaning out, you know, the colon, the GI tract, removing sulfur, all those good things, cleaning out the stomach, you know, de-inflaming the body, removing all acidosis. It's just so good for so many things. So I really miss watermelon. Even though this isn't a seeded watermelon, it will definitely do for now. So I've been pumping the watermelons. I've been you know, no grapes right now, but I've been pumping the watermelons, doing some persimmons, doing some mangoes. You know, with the fruit diet, we often have to shop around, and it's often in different places and different stores that we're able to find the best of this type of fruit, or the best of this type of food, right? So, you know, it takes a little bit of work because society doesn't make it easy, but we have to fight for our health. We have to fight for our health. Absolutely, it's a must, especially in this day and age. So I'm going to urge you guys to do the same. And those that are, you know, those of you that are on your detox journey now, keep on going, keep on fighting the good fight. Your battle against acidosis, your battle against toxicity, against mucus, you know, you are winning. Every single time you take a bite of food, you're winning against all those mucus forming and coagulating factors of the acidic cooked foods. So I want, you know, to commend all of you that are still on this journey, still, you know, fighting the good fight, like I said, and keep on moving forward, because every single day you're taking another step, a further step in healing yourselves and healing your body once and for all, and finally, right? So yeah, guys, I just wanted to start off with that little intro, and let's see if I can get myself a little bit more comfortable into answering the questions, because I know it's been a while, but I'm quite excited because that's my favorite thing ever to do, is to answer your questions. It lights up my soul, and you know, it warms my heart knowing that I can be of help to you guys, you know, guiding you on your healing journey, and, you know, using my experience and my knowledge that I've gained over the past many years to help all of you. And so that's what I want to do. So without further ado, here goes the first question. So the first question is, hi Ailin, thank you so much for your videos. They are so helpful. Thank you. May you please make one on healing HPV and GERD. I am currently suffering from these. I'm taking Nexium 40 for GERD. HPV is stressing me more. I have been told that it will develop to cancer by the doctor. Okay, so your question is on HPV and GERD. So let's start off with GERD first, because these are like two really big hot topics. A lot of people are suffering from acid reflux and GERD nowadays, and also a lot of people have viral loads like HPV and herpes and shingles and all these different viruses. So we'll tackle this question in two parts. So for the first one, you said that you've been suffering from GERD, and you're taking Nexium 40 for GERD. So for those of you that are new to detoxification, I'll try and break this down in as simplistic terms as I possibly can, and also to explain what causes GERD or acid reflux. They're one and the same. Really, acid reflux is the condition that they name when it's like just acid reflux. Like you're experiencing heartburn, you have acid reflux as a one-time occurrence as a symptom, right? But GERD is what they stamp you with. GERD, the name, that disease name, is what they stamp you with when you are experiencing reoccurring acid reflux. So if it's not just an isolated incident every once in a while, if it's reoccurring, like let's say several times a week, the doctors will label you with GERD. So when people come to me, when clients come to me, and I look at their case and I look at their eyes and everything, these are the three top causes of GERD or acid reflux. Number one, I always check to see if they have a pancreatic weakness. Most oftentimes they do. The reason that the root cause of GERD is pancreas weakness, more often than not, is because the pancreas is a digestive organ. It's responsible for producing sodium bicarbonate to neutralize stomach acids. So the stomach, anytime you eat foods, or especially proteins, the stomach glands in the stomach start to produce hydrochloric acid and enzymes and all that stuff in order to break down and digest your foods. But the problem is that if you don't have your pancreas functioning in proper order and it's lacking the production of sodium bicarbonate, your body is unable to neutralize those stomach acids. Then you start to experience that stomach burn and heartburn, going up and traveling up to the esophageal wall and the esophagus. And that can create things like shortness of breath, pain in the chest, that sour taste in your mouth, the belching, all that stuff. If you have that, you can definitely see if you have a pancreas weakness. And this is a concern because what I often see is people that have been suffering from acid reflux for a really long time, you can see in their eyes, the esophageal wall, very, very big chronic weakness right there. You can see the deterioration that the acids have done to that esophagus tissue. So it's very important to heal that, to heal the root cause, to drain the body of the interstitial acidosis all throughout the GI tract. Because if you have pancreas weakness, you're going to have this interstitial acidosis within and around the GI tract, the colon, the stomach, and the corresponding digestive organs, the liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas. So, that is of main concern. Along with the esophageal weakness that we often see in people that are exhibiting acid reflux and GERD, we also see stomach weakness occurring as well. In the iris and iridology, that sign is known as these dark lesions that are emanating from the pupil and are going out in spokes. That is deterioration of the stomach. And oftentimes you can see like this image of the stomach, so what's known as the stomach ring, in the iris as well. But those lesions, those dark lesions, are indicative of possible ulcerations or ulcerations happening fast in the near future. So you want to take care of these things because acid reflux and GERD, over time, it can create ulcerations and it can also create cancers. So esophageal cancer, stomach cancers, or ulcerations, vice versa in those places. So this is something that is very serious. It's often not taken seriously by medical doctors. They'll give you an antacid, they'll give you a proton pump inhibitor for a few weeks, and then they'll be like, okay, off your merry way. But this is very serious. Now, you don't want to suppress these conditions. You don't want to take an antacid full of like calcium or magnesium or these man-made isolated substances that is just going to create more disease conditions in your body. You know how that happens? In antacids, what do you have? You have things like calcium or magnesium. If you have a problem utilizing calcium in your body, what will that calcium carbonate create in your body then? What will it create? It will create kidney stones or calcifications in your body. So you never want to mess with medications like that, especially not long term, and you don't want to mess with isolated chemistry in any sense of the word. We have to be detectives when we're detoxifying the bodies. We have to really look and see, where is the root cause? What location is it? You know, because even though you have acid reflux, the problem isn't in the stomach. Like we've discussed first, this first root cause, it can be coming from the pancreas, right? So it's like, as a detox specialist, that's my job, is I'm sort of a detective and I piece all these puzzle pieces together. And we can definitely truly see where the root cause is coming from, looking in your eyes and looking at your family health history and health history in general. So how can you tell if it's a pancreatic weakness? Okay, you can see that weakness in the eye, but also your genetic family history can point to it as well. If your family, well, if you are seeing undigested food in your stools, that's a possible pancreatic weakness. If you are exhibiting a lot of gas and bloating type symptoms, that's also a possibility. If you are thin and having trouble gaining weight, or you have nutritional deficiencies, that is also a possibility of having a pancreas weakness. Or if you see that running along the line in your family history, like your mom, your dad, or your grandparents, or your siblings, if they have it, okay? So this is kind of like what I do as detox specialist. Those are all the shifting parts that I look at to see where you have your organ and gland weaknesses and what herbal protocol you should be put on to finally heal your health issues. So that's the first root cause of GERD or acid reflux. The second root cause is often just sulfur. I often see in people's eyes a lot of yellow and orange in that hub, right there in the middle of the iris. The colon, the stomach, right around the pupil will often be very yellow, a neon yellow, or it can be orange. In blue eyes, it's easier to spot sulfur. If you have sulfur, it'll be yellow or orange, and you know, that contrast is very apparent. But in brown eyes, it can take a little more, a little more experience to see if you have sulfur. In brown eyes, I often see it as orange. It'll look like murky brown orange, and it'll look more focused towards the colon or around the pupil. And then if it's really bad, if you have a lot of sulfur accumulation in your body, you'll see it along the fibers, along the lymphatic bed, and around the lymph nodes. You don't want it to reach your lymph nodes. That's when it gets really hard to detox the body. So we can ask ourselves, where does this sulfur come from? Where does it come from? Well, in this society, sulfur is found everywhere, literally everywhere. You can find it in drinking water, you can find it in body care products, you can find it in food, processed foods. Sulfur is often used as a preservative, both in body care products and food products. And also sulfur is found in wine and alcohol as sulfates or sulfites. It can be found in dried fruits. You always have to check if you're going to buy dried fruits like dates or raisins or figs or apples, anything dried fruits, you have to check to see that it hasn't been preserved with sulfur. Because the more you consume this sulfur, the more it will lock your lymphatic system in your colon. And it can be very difficult to remove this sulfur. The reason why sulfur is so detrimental to the body is because, number one, it's a highly acidic compound, highly acidic gas. It will start to destroy the tissue around the body since it's so acidic. The acidic chemistry deteriorates the tissue. Number two, sulfur is a fungal proliferant. Fungus is attracted to sulfur. So the more sulfur you have in your body, the more you can crave things like starches or fungal type foods, right? Like bread, rice, pastas, things like that. So you want to eliminate this sulfur because of that. And another thing is sulfur is found in antibiotics predominantly. So any antibiotics, if you've had a reoccurring taking of antibiotics or sulfur medications, you can bet that you have a lot of sulfur in your body that has to be removed. So like we said before, this sulfur is stuck in that colon wall. How can we remove it? Well, since sulfur is highly acidic, you can feel that burn. You can literally feel the burn in your stomach, in your esophageal wall, everywhere. And so it has to be removed. So how do you remove sulfur? I would honestly really recommend the GI Broom and the GI Renew formulas. And there's also certain fruits that are very, very good at removing sulfur, like melons and watermelons and apples are really good. Oranges, grapes, fantastic sulfur removers. Apple with lemon juice together is a fantastic sulfur remover, but you really want to focus on the lymphatic herbs that are in the GI Renew and GI Broom formulas. They're very, very astringent at pulling out this sulfur out of your body. And so when approaching detoxification, when you have something like GERD, you have to be a little careful because sometimes people's stomachs and insides are very sensitive. So when they start to try to remove this sulfur or try to remove this lymphatic waste out of the body and this acid out of the body, you can get reoccurring bouts of burning and like acid reflux type symptoms. So you want to take it slow. You didn't tell me what your diet looks like right now, but if it still involves the consumption of proteins, the consumption of animal foods, the consumption of any mucus forming foods, cooked foods, processed foods, grains, anything like that, then you want to shift that more towards raw foods and cooling foods. Foods that are not going to add to the abrasiveness that your body is experiencing. So what you want to do is you want to take a slower approach. Start by adding sweet fruits like bananas and subacid fruits, things that are more gentle like apples and grapes and plums and, things like that. But I would initially avoid things like oranges or lemons or pineapples. Those are more of the acid fruits. Now, acid fruits aren't acidic when consumed in the body. They always form alkaline ash at a cellular level in the end, so they're not like cooked foods. But initially when they hit your stomach, and since they're so powerful at removing acidosis through the lymph system, then you can feel that as a detox symptom. Oh, okay, So you want to start off slow with transitioning your diet into more raw foods, raw fruits, salads, smoothies, juices, things like that, okay? So if you initially start to feel that detox symptom, not to worry. It just means you can't handle that fruit right now. That's okay. You can try again that same fruit a few months from now. And that's kind of like what I had to do in my own detox journey, because initially I couldn't handle things like oranges or mangoes or strawberries. They created that sort of like, burning type feeling. Even in other parts of my body, like my bladder and my uterus, also I felt those pains too. People with allergies and food sensitivities also have to take the same approach with being a little careful. Don't take such an aggressive detox approach right in the beginning, okay? So that's what you should do with the fruits. And I mentioned the fruits that allow you to pull sulfur out of the body too, and the herbal formulas too. So what you want to realize next is number 3, the root cause of GERD and acid reflux can also be interstitial lymphatic constipation. Now if this is the case for you, this is the worst type. This is the worst scenario for GERD or acid reflux conditions, because this means that interstitially all throughout your entire GI tract in your body, you have acidosis. Acids have been chewing and chewing and chewing on the tissue, on the mucosa, everywhere, the stomach lining, everywhere. So it becomes a cause of concern because these acids, since they've been there for a long time, they can be cancer causing. They can create ulcerations. So you have to think about it this way. You want to remove the acidosis interstitially from the tissue. If you have sulfur, you want to remove the sulfur out of the body. And if you have a pancreas weakness, you want to restore and regenerate your pancreas. How is all this accomplished? The regeneration and the removal of anything, chemical, acid, neurotoxin, medication, anything, requires the alkalization of the human body. How do you alkalize the body? You want to focus on alkaline foods, alkaline forming foods. And you want to avoid everything that will instigate more acid production in your body, especially stomach acids. So for people that have GERD, the number one thing you must remove right away are protein foods. Protein foods will start the production of stomach acids and hydrochloric acid. So you want to avoid that pain. You want to avoid all these ulcerations that can be occurring in your body while you start to heal, right? While your pancreas is healing, while you're removing the sulfur, you have to cool everything down. So removal of proteins, they can be animal meats, fish, dairy is a protein, beans, excessive amounts of nuts. Sometimes you can get away with a little bit of seeds, okay, on the raw diet. Tofu, mock meats, all these things are proteins, classified as proteins, and you should not have them if you're experiencing acid reflux and GERD. Until you finally heal it, then maybe you can introduce them sometimes. But really, human beings don't require as much protein as we've been led on to believe. We'd only require about maybe 60 grams of protein per day, and not more than that. You know, we are actually suffering from having too much protein in our diets. Protein does not love the stomach, does not love the kidneys. It will burn and deteriorate all those organs and tissues in the body. And that's what we see time and time again, okay? So removal of proteins is absolute number one. And then you want to focus on the raw foods in order to get your kidneys to filter. So how do we clear all this acidosis, all this interstitial lymphatic acidosis that you can have inside the tissue of the stomach, inside the gut, inside the esophagus? How do you clear all this? Well, the lymphatic system is the body's main cleaning system. The blood is responsible to bring nutrition to the cells, and the lymphatic system's job is to remove all the cellular waste. See, acids can come from the foods that you consume, and then their byproducts are acidic. They can also come from environmental toxins, that we breathe in or that we drink or that we consume, but they are often coming from just our cellular sewage that our bodies have not been able to remove. So all the cells in the body require nutrition to maintain the vitality and the health of the cells. And then also they require the removal of the waste. I always say this in my videos, the cells consume nutrients and they also remove waste. Just like us, we have to use the bathroom, we have to poop, we have to pee, we have to get rid of our waste from the foods and the nutrition that we consume, right? So how do we reach this lymph system? The lymphatic system is connected to the kidneys. So in order for you to heal, you want to start seeing the cellular sewage coming out of your body finally, because your body has been flooding with this and it's been holding on to it and it doesn't know what to do with it or where to go. So it's just sitting, settling, and chewing on the tissues and creating this pain, this inflammation in your body, okay? So how to achieve kidney filtration is moving more towards raw foods, taking herbal formulas to turn on the kidneys to finally filter so that you can see the sewage coming out through your urine. You'll be able to see this sewage in the form of cloudiness, flakes, sediment. Sometimes people even see crystals settling on the bottom of the urine. I've seen that before. You can see strange colors too. One client was removing blue colored urine as some sort of chemical that they were finally detoxing from their bodies. But the color is not as important as the sewage that you can physically see. So like I said, cloudy urine or sediment or something like that. Kind of like when you shake a snow globe and you can see all these things floating around. That's what you want your urine to look like. That is good detoxification. If you start to detox and your urine is clear and it remains clear and you don't really reach the removal of the cellular waste, then you're not going to be making that much progress. Now, we do have other channels of elimination that can help us with that. We have our colon to remove mucus and all those things. We have our skin to sweat from. We have our respiratory system. We also exhale a lot of toxicity from there. But the kidneys are going to be the main channel of elimination to remove all the acids that are surrounding the cells and can have even permeated the cell. That's when something becomes a cancer cell, is when the acids finally permeate the cell, and we want to avoid that. If you do have cancer cells, you know, a lot of people do have cancer cells, then it's the job of the lymph system and the lymph nodes and the macrophages in the lymph nodes to engulf these cancer cells and to remove them and excrete them through the kidneys. So it really all comes down to that, okay? So those are the 3 root causes: sulfur, pancreas weakness, interstitial lymphatic constipation. Now, what do we do with this? This is the protocol that I would put you on. Since you're experiencing these symptoms, the stomach tea is fantastic at calming and soothing the mucosic lining in the stomach, so you won't feel that burn, okay? And the main herbs in the stomach tea are going to be slippery elm, marshmallow root, chamomile. All these create a mucilage. They're mucilage herbs. So when they go inside, they create this nice soothing coating to stop this burn from whatever the cause is, right? The 3-lung tea is also really good. It has pleurisy root, fenugreek seed, and mullein leaf. They're very anti-inflammatory, those herbs. So you can also use those. I mentioned the GI Broom, definitely the GI Renew. You want to be on a kidney formula. I recommend 2 kidney formulas, kidney number 2 and kidney number 1 especially. A lymphatic capsule. Start off slow. In the beginning, you can do lymphatic number 1 capsules and then see how it goes, you know. If you don't experience aggressive detoxification symptoms, then you can, you know, up the dosage to normal dosage. And then a lymphatic tincture. Definitely, you know, the fruits are lymphatic movers as well, but you can also put a lymphatic tincture. And then you want to check for your kidney filtration. If you have a pancreas weakness, depending on how big that weakness is, if it's a chronic degenerative lesion, if it's genetic in the eyes and you can see it's an inherent genetic weakness, you may need a pancreas glandular. Or if it's not that bad, you can take a pancreas tincture. So it really depends from case to case, guys. And then on top of that, let me see what else you said you have here. So you're taking Nexium, the proton pump inhibitor. I really don't recommend proton pump inhibitors, guys, because it's been a proven fact that they actually have cancer-causing agents inside these medications. The FDA has actually removed a lot of these medications for GERD and acid reflux off of the market because they contain higher than acceptable cancer-causing agents inside the medications. So it's like, you know, you start to think, okay, so some cancer-causing agents can be allowed in there to a certain level, you know what I mean? So that's kind of sickening. That's why you really want to get off of medications and not be relying on them and become your own healer and take your power back, okay? Because one day you can wake up with something like cancer or with a chronic or degenerative illness, and you really want to take a preventative approach before things get worse. Right now, they might actually be really bad in your body, but your body's not showing extreme signs of it. Sometimes I look at people's eyes and I'm like, ooh, okay, we really need to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Because if not, you can be creating some sort of cancerous condition in your body or major destruction of your organs and glands and tissues. So you always want to take that preventative approach and as aggressive as you can handle it, because really it becomes a battle of acids versus alkalinity. If acids win, your body's going to lose. If acids take over, your health is going to continue to decline. So you want to remove these acids as soon as possible, okay? And now, let's see what else we have here. I hope you guys are enjoying the Q&A so far. Okay, and now really, if you want to do something about it right now, you know, to help soothe and coat your GI tract wall, your stomach, you can also take aloe vera. You can take the gel and scrape it off and just take a shot of it every once in a while. The same thing goes for the stomach tea or the 3-lung tea. I often tell people, take that often throughout the day. You want to just soothe and coat your stomach, soothe and coat your GI tract as often as possible. And on top of that, some clients come to me where they can't even handle some of the herbal formulas, sometimes they're very aggressive. That's how toxic people are. It really depends on how toxic you are in your body. So if you're highly inflamed and acidic, some people can't handle the herbal formulas like as a regular dosage. And some people do very fine with them. But really, when I see chronic congestion in the eyes, several symptoms in the body, then we always know we have to take a slower approach. And whenever you get the herbal formulas, I always recommend start off with a few drops, test it out the first few days, see how you feel. If you feel fine, you can start to increase it until you reach the regular dosage. So for capsules, 2 capsules 3 times a day. For the herbal capsules, the glandulars, they really vary. Really depends on the severity of the weakness in your eyes, and also the tinctures. 1 drop or full 3 times a day is average, but it really depends on your height and weight, and your need and how aggressive you have to be. So this is why working with a detox specialist is so important, because you can see, okay, how aggressive do you need to be in your detox approach? And also you can avoid major detox symptoms when you know what your weaknesses are in your body and what to be careful for during your detox. So yeah, like I was saying before, you want to, if the tinctures or the herbal formulas give you a problem, what I sometimes do is I tell people, okay, drink the stomach tea before taking the herbal formulas. And then, it doesn't give them a problem. They don't feel any stomach pains. They don't feel like that pulling of the acids and the lymph system, And sometimes, guys, you have to go through these detox symptoms in order for your body to get out of this lymphatic toxicity that you have. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in the same place and not move and not budge. So sometimes we have to go through just a little bit of suffering, just a little bit during our detox in order to go out of that level and experience more health, because if you're frightened and scared of experiencing any detox symptoms, you're going to stay on the same level, and you've plateaued. And if you stay on the same level, acids will continue to destroy the tissue, and you're actually going to decline in your health. So you always want to be moving past all these plateaus, past and going higher and higher. And then that's when you'll actually reach true healing. So that's the science and art of detoxification, guys. So I hope I answered that part of your question, okay? And now for the next part of the question is HPV. So you said that you're currently suffering from HPV. It's really stressing you out. And I have been told that it will develop to cancer by the doctor. Okay, so don't worry about it developing into cancer, because I'm going to explain what viruses are. HPV, human papillomavirus, is going to be the same exact thing as any other virus. It really depends on the location. Where are the viruses attracted to in your body? Viruses are protein splitters. They're kind of like antigens, like the immune system cells, they mark cells with antigens, or they mark foreign invaders with antigens to let the rest of the immune system know, okay, we gotta take care of this. We gotta destroy it, or we have to engulf it to get rid of it. So viruses act the same exact way. Their job is they're magnetically attracted to cellular weaknesses in the body. Magnetically attracted to them. And so they're protein splitters, and they start to split up the proteins that make up the cells. But then if you have viral loads and they attach to the cells, you can experience the symptoms that come with that type of viral disease, whether that's herpes or HPV. HPV, you often experience things like genital warts and warts down there. And what do we see in every single person that has a viral issues in the body? Depending on what type of virus it is. If it's shingles, it's the nervous system. We'll see a bunch of nerve rings in the person's eyes, indicating that, the destruction of the myelin sheaths in the nervous system. But for HPV and herpes, what do we see? The reproductive organs have a weakness. And we can see that in the eyes. Chronic lesion, chronic congestion. So really it's the environment. Instead of trying to attack or remove the virus, you have to create an environment in which the function of the viruses becomes obsolete. They no longer serve a purpose. They no longer have a function because you've already alkalized your body and you've strengthened these cellular weaknesses. So that's how you get rid of viral loads, is you go after strengthening the weaknesses in your body, all right? In this case, in HPV, you'll want to strengthen your reproductive system, depending on whether you're a male or you're a female, you didn't say, but if you're a female, strengthen your ovaries, strengthen your uterus, your vaginal wall, everything, right? If you're a male, strengthen your testes, strengthen your prostate, strengthen, that whole groin region. And what comes down to it is people that have reproductive weaknesses, what's down in the body? The two main channels of elimination, their kidneys and their colon. The colon is right there near the reproductive system, and when the colon backs up, a lot of toxicity starts to go to the reproductive system. If the kidneys are weak, what starts backing up first? The lymph system, right there in the kidneys, starts to back up. So it's often very easy to get rid of these sort of disease type symptoms that are closest to the kidneys, because the ones near the head region or in the upper body are actually going to take longer time to get rid of, since they're not as close to the kidneys. But in the same way, if you stop filtering from your kidneys, the first things that start to develop symptomology or tissue destruction or, signs of lymphatic sewage building up is going to be near the kidney area. So the colon, the reproductive system, the bladder, that entire region starts to go. So that's what you have to focus on, is cleaning and repairing your channels of elimination, the kidneys and the colon. And then you'll start to see, oh, my symptoms are disappearing, going away, because in the removal of the acids comes alkalinity. In alkalinity comes the regeneration and the repair of tissue destruction. So then you'll actually start to see it in your eyes. Your eyes will start to look lighter, clearer with the removal of this lymphatic congestion. The lesions, the weaknesses, they'll start to get lighter and lighter and lighter. That's when you know you're finally reaching cellular regeneration. And then goodbye viral loads. Another thing you want to consider with viral loads, with HPV in particular, is you can use the female reproductive formula. I would hold off on the male reproductive formula if you have any prostate issues, if you have frequent urination, if you're older of age, like let's say if you're in your 50s, your 40s or beyond, you should check your prostate levels, your PSA levels in your blood, and see if you're good to go with that. If it's within normal ranges, then you can go on the male reproductive formula. But if it's not, you should go on a prostate formula, and you should detox a little more before going on the male reproductive formula. But really, that male-female reproductive formula will start to go in there with the herbs. The herbs have intelligence, they have nutrition that go in and repair those specific tissues of the body, of the reproductive system. So that's how the herbs work, guys, is they actually have nutrition, and their intelligence goes directly to that tissue and start to rebuild, revitalize, and regenerate it at a cellular level, okay? So once you do that, if you're a female, I would also recommend douching with the Heal All tea. Douching with the Heal All tea is fantastic, because then that's also another opening, another channel of elimination that you can utilize. People, when they use the Heal All tea, they start to see crazy things come out of them. If they're very congested in the reproductive system, they can see like huge balls of mucus. People have passed tumors. People have passed like flesh-like, blood-like things. And these are like in the most congested cases, guys. But your average person is going to see a passage of some stuff. Maybe some mucus, maybe something small like little tiny cyst or tumors, or things like that the body has formed and has held on to. So it's a very good idea to utilize that vaginal canal for the females when you're going after any sort of sexually transmitted disease, okay? And then really that's to it. The journey can be a little long if you are someone that has a weak constitution. If you're someone that has a strong constitution, so nice straight fibers in your eyes, not too many weaknesses, you'll see results fast. You'll see viral loads being detoxed out of your body fast. But if you're a weak constitution person with a lot of chronic congestion, it can take a little time as your body cleans out the lymph system. But there's nothing out there, there's nothing else out there that will heal this, you know, and you don't want to go on medications because of the side effects. Oftentimes people come to us, they develop diseases as a result of taking medications. So you really want to avoid that as much as you possibly can, unless it's a very life-threatening illness and you have a stat need for it. But really being on things long-term is no good. You have to get to the root cause and then wiggle your way out of using medications, okay? And you know, other formulas that I would definitely put you on would be the liver gallbladder formula. I often find that the liver gallbladder is very weak in viral cases. And I think it's because of the liver's transmuting function and role in the body. It can transmute and get rid of viral loads. So I would recommend cleaning up the liver. The spleen too. The spleen is responsible for cleaning the blood through the lymph system. So you want to keep the blood very healthy to purge the body of viral loads. Let's see what else. Also, you want to take care of the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes is a good one because, like we said before, the lymph nodes are sites in the lymphatic system that has beneficial bacteria, macrophages, and buffering agents to engulf and get rid of anything that the body sees as a foreign invader, including viral loads. So it would be a good idea to be on a lymph node formula as well. So I hope that answered your question. And yeah, just, you know, don't sweat it. Oh, something I forgot to add was if you are having things like, you know, sores, like general sores and things like that, try and do like some sort of sitting, like you can sit in a bath with Heal All tea and help, you know, promote alkalinity to that area. You can also do things like poultices. You can do a poultice of Heal All tea or a poultice of, you know, any sort of like herbal infusion. You can do that as well. And yeah, this is really just for people that are symptomatic. If you're not symptomatic, you don't have to do these things. But use the herbs to your advantage when it comes to like seeing these symptoms or you know, like lesions in that area of your body, and then you can keep on going. And like I said before, guys, whatever you're healing, whatever disease condition you're healing, the more you detox and get rid of acids in that area, you can see that same exact symptom re-emerging. But then it'll go away, and then it can come back and go away. That is the healing journey. That is the detoxification journey. You're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs, ups and downs, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll see that it's going up. It's going up and you're actually healing, okay? So I hope I answered your question, and thank you for submitting it. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, this is a big one, guys. Back in the day, when I was a teenager, and luckily this was when I already had an awareness of the dangers of vaccinations, okay? The doctors, they wanted to administer an HPV vaccine in me. And thankfully I said no. And I would recommend that you guys do the same, because what vaccinations contain are high levels of neurotoxins. High levels of neurotoxins that most people in this day and age cannot handle, because every single person that comes to me has a chronic adrenal gland weakness and nerve rings. This means that the adrenals and the nervous system are chronically weak in people. And these sorts of people, if you take a vaccination with neurotoxicity, you run the risk of having an anaphylactic shock or just dying. So don't take the risk. HPV vaccinations especially, all they really work with is they actually have proteins in the vaccine. And, you know, some sort of immune response. Okay, the body develops antibodies against this protein. But what are you doing in that situation? You're actually adding to the inflammatory overload in your body with that sort of vaccination. you know, not to mention all the heavy metals that are also in the vaccinations, fetal, aborted fetal cells too. From an ethical standpoint, if you're religious, there's a lot of reasons to avoid vaccinations. So I do not recommend vaccinations of any kind, especially HPV vaccines. If you want to take a preventative measure when it comes to viral loads, really you have to use common sense and also follow the raw diet and detox your body with the raw foods, the herbs, and the detox tools that I mentioned. And you're going to be okay. But all these things that you mentioned, GERD and HPV, you do have to take seriously, because even though the doctor was, telling you that, okay, it can develop into a cancer, it can develop into a cervical cancer, then what does that mean? Well, like I said, viruses are attracted to weaknesses. Where does cancer come from? Cellular weakness. The cell is too weak. It can mutate into a cancer cell. It becomes a dead cell. So don't be in fear, but just go after your health and make it your priority in your life, especially right now. Okay? So, okay, finally done. I'm glad I answered your question, and thank you for your question. Okay, guys, so let me take a little sip. Sometimes it's becoming increasingly more difficult to make these videos because, I've always been very well versed in the matters of health and the human body and detoxification. But the more I grow, the more I learn, the more I experience, I learn even more and more and more and more. And since it's my passion, I can tend to make things maybe a little bit too complicated to the average person, right? And it can also be a little difficult because I don't know what type of person is watching these videos. Well, we get all types of people watching the videos. All of you guys, some of you guys are, just starting out on your detox journey, don't know too much about health, don't know too much about detox, don't know too much about the human body. But then we have some of you that know a lot about detox and the human body because this is also your passion or your interest. So I try to really speak from both sides to make it interesting and as simple and as easy to understand as possible for everyone that's watching. For the people that are more well-versed, you're still learning something from my videos, right? But for the people that are just starting out, hopefully I'm not making things too complicated. But I've noticed that over the years of me doing these Q&As, answering the questions becomes longer and longer. Answering one question then becomes like a 40-minute video, just one question, because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to detoxification. And, since I can't see your case right in front of me, I can't see your eyes, I have to tell you guys every single little possibility that could be occurring in your body, so that you are armed with this knowledge, right? And then in the consultations, for those that come to me, that I know for sure, like, okay, this is what you have. But in these videos, it can be very general, and I do my best to try and help you guys out. So yeah, thank you guys for being patient and for, taking an active role in learning about your health and the human body in general. So, it warms my heart. And I'm glad that, we have this safe space to talk about health too. Because a lot of us, we're often really alone on this detox journey. Some of us, can be fortunate and have family members that are also detoxing, or maybe we have one or two people in our lives that are into health or at least support us on our healing journey and what we're doing. But sometimes we don't have anyone. I was one of those people that really didn't have anyone. I was sort of like the trailblazer in the family where they were very, okay, like, are you sure you're not going to kill yourself with this diet? That sort of mentality. And then, I didn't listen to what anyone said. I was in enough pain and suffering to detox, to make vast changes in my lifestyle. And then, lo and behold, they saw me getting better and better. People started to become interested. you know, my husband, then my mom, then my dad, then my sister, then my cousins, you know, everyone then started cleaning up their diet when they saw the changes and when they saw the healing that occurred within my body. So sometimes some of us are like the guinea pigs where we have to be the first ones to detox, and then our other family members or friends then start to follow suit. But even if they don't, it's okay. You know, you're still doing this for yourself. I didn't detox to prove people wrong or to, you know, try and throw my beliefs onto other people. I was detoxing for myself. I wanted to better myself and my health and get out of my suffering and pain so I could live the life that I wanted to finally, you know? So, but, you know, why I bring this up is because I really make these videos, like, my heart is so big for those that are on this solo journey, and that's why I really make these videos, is to provide you guys, yes, information and knowledge, but also support. You know, I know back in the day when I was healing, I was just consuming as much information as possible, and you know, I made friends in the detox community, but really some of us work good solo, some of us need the support of like a community, some of us need a specialist or a guide or someone that's knowledgeable in detoxification. So each of us are different in our needs. I was more of a person that was like on this solo journey, and I had like that laser like focus, and you know, I was kind of sort of like an introvert, so I didn't really need, you know, to have that like camaraderie while I was detoxing. But I did watch a lot of detoxification videos, and I was always reading books and articles and anything I could get my hands on, courses, anything like that. So that's why I make these videos, is for any type of support you guys need, I'm there for you. Okay, let me take a bite of this watermelon. It's just been sitting there. Okay, next question. Hi Ailin, can you please help me with my symptoms? Of course. I have very bad OCD, anxiety, and even some depression. My mind is constantly attacked with scary thoughts and scenarios. I can't live my life normally because I see my life through the lens of fear and terror. And what makes it even scarier is when people talk about thoughts and feelings manifesting into reality. I hope you can help me with what kind of food someone with a lot of mental illness and fear should eat, and what herbs to take. Thank you in advance. Smiley face. Okay, so this is going to be a big one, guys. And I can actually relate to this personally, because when I was chronically ill and suffering with my health issues in the past, I also was suffering from a lot of emotional, mental issues as well. So you name it, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, even OCD type symptoms, and a lot of fear-based scenarios. So I'm going to let you know how I addressed it and how I address it in the clients that come to me. So let's start off with, you know, anxiety first and depression. So I've talked about anxiety a lot in all of our past videos, and depression especially, but I'll just quickly go through that, and so we can try and cover OCD a little bit deeper. So anxiety is always going to come from an adrenal gland weakness. So what you have to do is, if you have constant anxiety, even if it's like to the point of panic attacks, you should take an adrenal tincture or an adrenal glandular. It really depends on how chronically weak that adrenal gland is. In the iris at 6 o'clock, if you see a lesion emanating from the colon, from the hub of the colon and going down, that means it's genetic. If it's very dark, it's chronic. If it's black, it's degenerative. If it's in between, you know, if it's a little lighter than, you know, then like dark brown, or, you know, it depends on your iris color. If it's lighter, then it's going to be subacute. If it's hardly a weakness there, it'll be acute. You know, it really depends on the splitting of the iris fibers, how you denote how weak that area of the body is. But yeah, oftentimes we will see an adrenal gland weakness. And like I said before in this video, it's like 8 out of 10 people that come to us with chronic adrenal gland weakness. So I personally recommend an adrenal tincture and or an adrenal glandular for anxiety, because that's where anxiety stems from. And now depression can stem from a few different places. Depression can stem from the parathyroid gland or the thyroid gland, because those glands perform calcium utilization functions in the body. So you'd want to take a parathyroid gland, thyroid gland formula. You can take both, but you really have to look at your eyes and see where it is you have that weakness. And sometimes people have a pituitary gland weakness and they won't have parathyroid or thyroid gland weakness, but the pituitary will be down, which would be affecting the function of these corresponding glands, and calcium utilization will be low in the body. So that can bring on depression. Another thing that can bring on depression is having a hypothalamus gland weakness. Hypothalamus gland weakness at 12 o'clock in the animation of life region, if you have a line or a lesion in your iris in that region, it can make you lack motivation, can make you lethargic, can make you, need a lot of hours of sleep in order to feel even a little bit energized. These symptoms can often mimic depression, so you'd have to look at that too. Also, motivation is a strong drive too. Sometimes if you have a cerebellum weakness, that's the sexual impulse region, that can also make you quite low, fatigued, and can mask itself as sort of having depression type symptoms. So these are like signs that I look in the eyes in iridology and how you will address it. You notice that we started talking about the brain area, so I would recommend brain and nerve and upper circulation formula to help regenerate those parts of the brain. Now, we covered anxiety and depression. Next is OCD. Now, OCD definitely has its roots in the hypothalamus gland. It actually has its roots in the area that's called the inherent mental area, or the reality/OBS/ADD region. And for people that have a lesion or brain lesion or a weakness in that part of the iris, they will often exhibit things like OCD type symptoms or ADD, ADHD type symptoms, like hyperfocus or like obsessiveness, or addictions often, or a warped sense of reality. This is where fear can come into place. This is where OCD comes into place. So we have to really take a look at that area. That area actually is correlated with the hypothalamus as well. So what we want to do is, if you have a weakness there, you really would want to take a hypothalamus formula. There's a hypothalamus glandular. But more often than not, if you're just starting out your detox, I would say spend some time consuming the raw foods. If I look at that area in your eyes and you're not too congested, I will give you a hypothalamus formula in your protocol to start strengthening that right away. But if you're quite congested, I hold off on the hypothalamus glandular, I hold off on the upper circulation formula, and you'll just do the brain and nerve, the adrenal formula, things like that. But it really depends on your eyes and the weaknesses we see in your eyes. But this is kind of like a close subject to my heart for me, because really in the past when I suffered from all this fear and this OCD, ADD type symptoms, it was really bad. At its worst, I was so scared that I couldn't even step foot out of my house. I was scared to take public transportation. I had so much social anxiety. I couldn't talk to anyone or be in any sort of scenario with people there. And my OCD had gotten so bad that I was obsessing over little things like, okay, the color of the shirt that I'm wearing that day. If it has to be the right color or I'm going to have a bad day, or the mug that I choose to drink my tea or my juice that day. If I pick the wrong mug, I'm going to have a bad day. Things like that. It also started to really control and rule my life for the worse, because I would put my brain in these scenarios where I couldn't go about my day and do what I had to do without things around me being perfect. Everything had to be perfect. Everything had to be put in its proper place. Nothing could be out of order, and I was really like obsessed with trying to create the perfect environment in order for me to live in or do anything first, anything that I had to do. So it was really detrimental to my life. And how I took control of that finally was, yes, I did a lot of emotional work and mental work, reprogramming and rewiring my brain, trying to step out of fear and just taking action, imperfect action, right? So even though things aren't perfect all the time, you just do it anyways. So I did a lot of that work, a lot of positive affirmations, all that stuff, meditation, all those things, right? But then I also knew that there was a physical root cause. I was quite congested up here. People that have those symptoms like OCD, fear, anxiety, depression, they're very occluded up here in the brain region, the sinus region, the neck region, the throat region, all throughout their bodies. So we have to understand the link between the colon and the head area. All those main glands that we talked about, the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus gland, they're located in the brain. How to drain the brain of acids and mucus and congestion, you want to clean up the colon, especially the transverse colon. Once you start to clean up the colon, getting proper bowel movements every day, 3 to 4 times a day, taking the GI broom, you're going to release all this mucus, then the head will start to drain and you'll start to experience mental clarity, positive thoughts, and everything will become more clear to you and you'll live a more positive experience. So the colon is very important. Achieving cold and flu-like symptoms is also important during detox because like we said, before in the video, if you're waiting for kidney filtration to get rid of all the obstructions you have up here and your symptomology up here, you can be waiting a while. So you actually want to go ahead and, eat the raw foods, try and, promote a cold and flu-like symptom. Sometimes cold alkaline air helps to help get the sinuses to drain, but you want the mucus to come out of your throat, coughing, spitting, sneezing, blowing your nose, all those things, right? Even your ears can start to push out these acids and congestion. So you want to focus on those. We mentioned the strengthening of the glands. Kidney filtration is still also a must. And let me see what else you have going on here. Okay. Okay, so you asked like what foods and what herbs. Okay, so we discussed the herbs to take. And especially with that parathyroid formula, if you have a parathyroid gland weakness, you'll also want to take a natural form of calcium. Don't take isolated calcium though. Don't take a calcium supplement. You want something high in calcium like kelp or alfalfa or horsetail or oat straw or things like that, things that are high in calcium, along with the parathyroid formula, pituitary, whatever that you have going on. And then really it's about removing the foods that you're consuming now. I'm telling you guys, if you are consuming processed foods, you're going to feel the low vibrations of those foods. If you're consuming mucus-forming foods, you're going to become more congested up here and it will literally drag you down in your emotions. So the worst offending foods are going to be processed foods, foods that have sugar, not natural sugar, not like sugar from fruits, but we're talking about processed sugars, either white sugar, or cane sugar, or things like that. You really want to avoid those sort of processed sugars. You want to avoid things that are mucus forming like grains, animal meats, especially the low vibrations from cooked animal meats, very detrimental, and cooked foods in general, detrimental. Dairy is a huge one. You want to avoid dairy. You want to avoid caffeinated foods, so coffee or chocolate, anything like that aggravates and agitates the adrenal glands, that can put you into states of anxiety or paranoia. You want to avoid those. And then you want to focus on the fruits that actually have the highest vibrational energy. so that you can, by consuming those high vibrational foods, increase your vibrational energy. If you're at a high state of vibrational energy, negative thoughts don't affect you. They don't come into your existence. The fear is not going to be controlling your life. So really it's about achieving the angstroms in your body. So angstroms is a unit of energy, and everything that we consume has a unit of energy. Our bodies are also units of energy. So to put it into perspective, watermelon or any sort of fresh whole fruit that has not been cooked is about 9 to 10,000 angstroms. Some of them even 11,000 angstroms. Raw vegetables, they're okay, they're pretty good, they're pretty healthy, right? They're not as high as fruits though. So vegetables that are raw, they're going to be around, like 7 to 8,000 angstroms. So below that, you'll have like your cooked vegetables. They can be around like 6,000 angstroms to 4,000 angstroms. And all the way on the bottom of that chart is cooked meat, 0 angstroms, 0 vibrational energy. Above that, you have pretty much everything else in between. Greens, things like that. There'll be maybe like 2,000, 3,000 angstroms, but you see how you want to eat more from that high angstrom level. Your average human being is walking around at 6,000 angstroms. Once you've reached a very degenerative state or diseased state like cancer, you're maybe at 4,500 angstroms, even lower. The lower your angstroms are, the lower your vibrational energy, the more disease will come into play, into your existence. Okay? So you want to eat more of the high vibrational foods and completely omit and cut out the low vibrational foods. All right? I have personal experience with this, and I've seen it time and time again. People come to me and tell me, oh, I was doing pretty good with the raw, or I was eating pretty healthy, and then the moment I had this processed food, like a bag of chips or a pizza or, this, like a piece of cake or something like that, then depression just hit me. It just hit me like a ton of blocks, or anxiety hit me like a ton of blocks. When your body becomes so clean, you become more in tune with your sensations of what food is actually good for you and makes you feel happy, and what food brings you down. So you want to get to that state, you want to get to that awareness, right? It's all about becoming more aware, and with awareness, you can actually take care of your body. And so your experience will be much better, right? I wanted to touch back on the hypothalamus gland though, because this is an experience that a lot of people, they have trouble with. People with a hypothalamus gland weakness, they can often have trouble taking care of themselves because the hypothalamus gland controls body homeostasis. So it alerts you when you're hungry and you should eat something, when you're thirsty and you should drink something, when you should use the bathroom, when you should take a break and get rest or sleep. And when that's not in proper function in your body, then things can, your health starts to decline, obviously. So it can be hard for these types of people to follow a raw diet because it's very, aware, and you have to make sure that you're eating all throughout the day raw foods and taking care of yourself and taking herbs. So in those cases, I would recommend a hypothalamus glandular right off the bat to help promote the rewiring of the brain in wanting to take care of itself, right? In alerting you with its nerve impulses, like, okay, it's time to take care of yourself, right? But yeah, guys, I want to tell you, and this person in particular, with that sort of OCD type feeling and that fear that's coming over you, it's only taking over you because you are using it in its negative aspect, in its negative form. In its positive form, it can actually be a wonderful trait, like a superpower for you. People that have had like ADD or OCD type symptoms in the past, once they heal, once they get on a raw diet, they can accomplish pretty much anything they set their mind to. These sorts of people have hyper focus. So you can actually shift into the positive aspect of that, weakness in and of itself, right? And shift it into focusing on positive things, like accomplishing your goals, right? And we're really only on this planet, on this rock in space, for such a short amount of time. So now, this is easier said than done, right? But I feel like I can speak to it because I've been there before. But you do want to spend as much of your time enjoying yourself. Spend your time thinking positive thoughts, or daydream about positive things, because you only do have such a limited amount of time on this earth. Each human being does, right? So I'll leave it with that. But I hope I was able to answer your question. I would say the last thing would be surround yourself with beautiful things too. If your environment, if you don't like it, change it up, or take a break from it. I often find that spending time in nature, it becomes very difficult to hold yourself in that fear vibration or that feeling of depression or anxiety. It's very difficult because nature is just so high vibrational. If you put yourself into that environment, if you consume high vibrational foods, you'll see all your health issues, all this stuff that you mentioned will be gone. And definitely, if you have a chronic gland weakness in any of those areas, take those herbs. The herbs are going to help you heal and regenerate those weaknesses, okay? I hope I answered your question. Okay, next question. What do you do if you have had a biopsy? Is it still possible to heal from that? Okay, so for biopsies, I don't recommend them because biopsies are actually very detrimental. You're going in there with a needle and probing probably an area that is already so acidic and so toxic in its overload. Oftentimes people biopsy their lymph nodes or tumors to check for cancer, and that is the last area you want to biopsy, because every time you biopsy, you actually create damage to tissue, damage to cells. You really don't want to damage any area like that that's suspect of cancer any further than it already is. It will give the body even more to have to deal with when it comes to healing itself. So I don't recommend biopsies for that reason. But if you did already have a biopsy, you can heal from it, okay? You just have to take that aggressive approach. You want to alkalize that area in order for a tissue repair to take place. Like we said before, under an acidic sky, you cannot heal damage to tissue or cells. So you have to focus on hydration, and you also have to focus on seeing that kidney filtration coming out so that you can start to repair any tissue damage. And for people that have had like past injuries or past surgeries or past anything like that, when they start to detox and they dig deep enough into their detox journey, they can start to feel detox symptoms in areas that were prior injured, but the body didn't fix it completely, didn't heal it completely, and finally it's able to do so when you detox and when you eat raw. Then tissue starts healing, acids start to pull, and you can feel detox symptoms in those areas, right? So the same thing with the biopsy. Since you had the biopsy, you're going to probably feel wherever it was in the area that was biopsied, you'll feel the acids pulling, the acids draining area, but that will be as a result of the detox, and that will be a good detox symptom to experience, and it'll show you that you're moving in the right direction, okay? But there wasn't that much information to this question, but I hope I answered your question. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking the time here with me today to go over these questions. I really appreciate you taking an active role in healing your health issues. We need more people that are more health conscious nowadays, so that when you heal, you then inspire other people to heal themselves, and then it's like a ripple effect that can be felt all throughout the world. And thankfully, more and more people are falling in line with natural healing and believing in it, and using that instead of the chemical toxicity that comes from taking medications and going the medical route. Really, it is about healing the root cause of disease. And with that, with the healing of our physical body comes the healing of our mental and emotional and spiritual body. So I would say detox is of utmost importance now more than ever in the day and age that we're living in. So thank you to all of you that are taking an active role in your health. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm here for you to help assist you in any way that you need. And really, if you are suffering a lot with any chronic health issue, I would urge you guys to get in contact with me. I'll help guide you. I really recommend the Master Your Health package for those of you that want to work with me. In the Master Your Health package, I read your eyes, I go through your health history, your case, everything that you've been through, your genetic family health history, and with all that information that's gained with your health forms and in the call that we have together, we'll talk to each other. It's normally ranges about 2 hours or even more. I really, give you the time that you need in order to help you fully understand what's causing your health issues and how we're going to go and move forward in healing them, with the diet, the right diet. Every person's diet is going to look different depending on what you're trying to heal, depending on how toxic you are, depending on how bad your weaknesses are. Everyone's diet protocol looks different from person to person. And then your herbal protocol is also going to look very different. But based on that, I will formulate your diet protocol, your herbal protocol, the detox tools that you need too, that will help prevent, any sort of unnecessary detox symptoms that you don't have to experience. Or if you do experience them, these detox tools will also help. And these detox tools also help enhance detoxification when you need it. And then you also get an iris analysis with your eyes clearly labeled and explained to you during the call. And and a ton of other information. So I really recommend the Master Your Health package. That package has helped so many people. It's crazy. We have it's been thousands of people since I've been doing this for so many years. So I really recommend that Master Your Health package. It brings everything that you need to start today to finally get to the root cause of healing your health issues. And for those of you that really just want an iris analysis, then we also have that option on our website too. And we also I finally am able to open up the VIP services to you guys, because for a while I was backed up in my VIP clients, so I really couldn't take anyone anymore. But now I finally have a few openings, just a few openings though, because with VIP clients I'm very involved. I'm there for you all the time, so it takes a lot of time. But for those that are interested in working with me one-on-one at a VIP level, you can have a look on our website for that service. And so all the services mentioned can be found at www.spiritropicalhealing.com. So yeah, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, if you want me to answer any of your detox or health related questions, leave it in the comment section down below this video. If you like this video, leave a like and share this video with anyone that really needs to hear this information. There's so many people suffering out there that need to hear this information. So you can be that first person that introduces them to detoxification. And that's truly powerful. So I love you guys. Take care. Bye.